Hi, I wanted to make this video because I've been thinking, and this time I've been thinking about anger. So the reason I've been thinking about anger is because I've been wondering if it's ever okay to show other people that you're angry. So anger is a really big emotion, and because of that it can be quite scary and maybe quite damaging. But there must surely be a reason that we're capable of having anger. So I've been wondering, why do we get angry and what's the right thing to do with it? So I wouldn't say that I experience very much anger in my life at the moment. So I'm not really used to dealing with it when it shows up in me or in someone that I'm around. So I'd like to feel a bit better equipped in terms of what to do if I'm feeling angry or if I'm faced with anger. So when I think about the anger that I experience, it tends to be connected to either stress or if I feel really strongly about something, maybe something that I think is wrong or unfair. So I think for me, anger is either a sign of stress or a sign of passion. So if I try to think of some specific things that have made me angry in life, firstly, it's probably family members. If they do something that I don't agree with or if they treat me in a way that I don't like. And I know that when my children were younger, they sometimes made it hard for me to stand firm about a decision, by repeating their questions or their demands over and over again. And it was sometimes hard to stay calm in those circumstances. So my anger then was probably a sign of stress. And I think I mostly managed to not show that stress or anger very often because it didn't seem like the right thing to do. I don't think being angry towards children really teaches them anything good, but still, it can be hard not to get angry towards children because they seem to know exactly how to wind you up. But I did always try my best to be the grown up in those situations, but I'm sure I didn't get it right all the time. And I've also had times when I felt angry at work, if I've got too much to do and I'm feeling the pressure, or maybe if someone has made a decision that I don't agree with, or if someone seems to be creating a lot of unnecessary work for other people. Again, I've mostly tried not to show my anger, but I probably haven't always been totally successful in that. I think I'm probably quite an easy person to read, so maybe I'd get a different story if I asked people to tell me if they've ever seen me angry. I know that I do try to stay professional at work, but I also know that it can be important to me that I can at least express my point of view if I feel strongly about something. So I do sometimes let some of my emotion show through. So I'm not sure whether that's the right or the wrong thing to do at work, but I tend to follow my instinct and hope for the best. And I haven't got myself into trouble so far, so hopefully that means I'm managing to at least be acceptable in my behaviour. Either that or they're afraid to make the angry woman even angrier. But hopefully it's the first one. And personally, I like it when people feel strongly about something, as long as they express it in a constructive way. So I'd say that when I get angry at work, I think that can be a sign of stress or a sign of passion. And the other thing that seems to make me angry is bad behaviour in other people. I think if someone is abusing a situation or being unkind to someone or just intentionally doing something bad, I can get angry quite quickly and find it hard not to intervene, even if it's none of my business. So I guess that would be a sign of passion rather than stress, because I've got quite a strong sense of right and wrong, and I do struggle to witness any wrongdoing without getting myself involved. And it actually causes me quite a lot of stress at times, but I can't help it. So, having looked at those examples, I think overall I'm glad that I get angry about the difference between right and wrong, but maybe not so glad that I can get angry when I'm feeling stressed. But maybe having that awareness will help me to manage it a bit better. So, next time I start to feel angry, I'll try to ask myself whether I'm just stressed or if I'm feeling strongly about something that needs me to take some action. And if I'm stressed, I can try to do something to calm myself down. And I'm quite good at knowing how to do that as long as I've recognised what's happening and can take a few deep breaths and try to relax. And maybe, if it's possible, I could go for a walk or listen to some music, and I usually feel completely different after doing that. And if I'm feeling strongly about something, then I also need to try and calm down, but I also need to decide what action to take about the thing that I'm feeling strongly about. And having strong emotions about something can be a really good motivator. So being able to channel those emotions into something positive can be really useful. And sometimes when I've felt like that about some sort of injustice, I've offered to put myself forward to speak on behalf of someone else who might be too afraid to speak up for themselves. And in a situation like that, I want to stay calm, but I don't want to tone down my anger because it's probably the thing pushing me to make a difference in a bad situation. And the reason I want to still stay calm is because even in a situation like that, I think anger can be damaging if you're not careful. Anger can make people start to lose control. It can lead to them saying hurtful things that maybe they don't necessarily mean. And even if there's no physical violence, anger with words can still feel violent. And I know that if I've shouted at my children when I've been angry, I've never felt good about that afterwards. And if anger becomes hurtful or violent or causes someone to be scared, then it's not going to achieve anything good. So I think staying in control of the anger is really important. I also think it's hard to achieve anything useful with anger if it's also being met with anger. So I think that's probably another thing to look out for, that anger needs to be conveyed in a way that doesn't make other people angry too. So if I need to express my anger to someone else, I need to be aware that it's better if they stay calm so that they can actually hear what it is that I need to say. So to help keep them calm, I can try to explain the anger as being about me rather than about them. And then hopefully they should be able to listen rather than having to think of ways to defend themselves. And if someone is angry towards me, I need to try my best to stay calm, even though I might feel myself starting to react to the situation. And I need to listen to what they're saying and try to understand why they're angry. It's also, I think, a useful tip to ask an angry person what they think the answer to the problem is. So if the situation can go like that, with the angry person being able to express themselves and the other person staying calm, then the anger has more chance of being of some use to show the emotion behind the message, but with nobody getting hurt. But if anger is met with more anger or defensiveness, then it's probably best to step away before it descends into a shouting match where people might get hurt. And you can't control how the other person reacts, but you can be aware that you're not likely to achieve anything useful if they're also getting angry and not able to listen. So, all that theory sounds great, but I wonder if I'll be able to remember any of it next time I can feel my blood starting to boil, and it'll be interesting to test it out. But I will try my best to try and recognise when anger seems to be building, either in myself or in someone else, and I'll see if I can stay calm and work out what the underlying reason is for the anger, so that something helpful can be done with it. And if the anger is coming from being passionate about something, then it's a good opportunity to think about what exactly it is that you're passionate about. It might be an opportunity to learn something about yourself and about your values in life. And if the anger's coming from stress, then you can learn that your stress might have reached a level that it's doing you some harm. So you might need to do something differently in your life to help you stay calm. Maybe you need to ask for some help, or maybe make a few changes in your life. But no matter what the reason for the anger, the best thing is always to try and notice and acknowledge the anger, and then try and calm down and look for the reason behind it, because that's where the usefulness is likely to be. And it will probably tell you something about yourself that you can learn from. So maybe next time you feel angry, try and use it to learn something about yourself, and then use what you learned to make a positive change in your life. So that's what I'm planning to try, and I hope it works. I also feel like I almost want to get angry now so that I can test it out. So I think that tells me that I've probably achieved what I set out to with this video, and that is to feel a bit better equipped about how to deal with anger if it shows up in me or in someone else that I'm with. So I hope you've taken something useful from this video, but I think that's all for this time. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!